the head of school. My name's Shifa. And if you have any questions at all about our school or about studying Portuguese in UCD, I'll be here until the very end of our little chat, our session. So I want to thank my colleagues for coming in today, and particularly Romeo Foz, who is he's Dr. Foz, and he is our Portuguese lecturer in UCD. And I suppose why we organise this today is because we're very conscious of starting new degrees in Portuguese. Portuguese has always been offered as kind of an option. It's what we call an elective. And a lot of our students take Portuguese electives, but they don't take Portuguese for the degree. Whereas starting with September, we're actually going to be trialing Portuguese as part of a degree as across a number of programs. So I don't know what you're interested in particular, but we will be having Portuguese within the BA in Modern Languages. We'll have Portuguese as a joint honours, so the old BA joint honours degree. So it would be Portuguese and another subject. And I can give you a list of subjects that you can't take with Portuguese later if you like. We'll also do Portuguese as part of the UCD 4-year BA in Humanities. Remember that the joint honours BA is 3 years normally. The 4-year BA Humanities programs would be Global Studies and European Studies, both with Portuguese. And then our real exciting moment is the B Education degree, which is coming on stream in September. It's a brand new degree between us and education, and that's an undergraduate degree in teaching with languages. So either with Irish or with modern languages, or with a combination of Irish and a modern language. So you could take 2 modern languages, including Portuguese. You could take Irish on its own, or you could take 1 modern language, including Portuguese, say Portuguese and Irish, and go out in a classroom and teach those later, 4 years later. It's a 4-year degree, it's brand new. So they're the platforms on which we're going to be offering Portuguese from September, and we're very excited about it, and we hope you're interested to hear a little bit about that today. So thanks for coming in. I'm delighted now to hand you over to my colleague, Romeo.
Thank you very much, Shifa, for the introduction and the welcoming. So I will share a PowerPoint with you so we can see some figures and curiosities about the Portuguese speaking world. I will mainly now talk about some, let's say, figures, numbers that can characterize the Portuguese speaking world. So the first one is that we have a large community of Portuguese speakers in the world. We have more than 260 million, which make Portuguese a global language, not a minority language, but a global language. It is also the language or the official language of 9 different countries. Countries that are spread all over the world: South America, Africa, and Asia, and also Europe, of course. So it's pretty much, let's say, a very global, also physical space, geographical space. Of course, according to different statistics, but Portuguese is normally listed as the 6th most spoken language in the world. And it is also, interestingly, the most spoken language in the Southern Hemisphere. Of course, Brazil has a huge contribution on that, but we need also to remember that Angola and Mozambique, Cape Verde, Saint Tomé Príncipe, Guinea-Bissau are also the countries that contribute for these numbers. Internet. Our world cannot be lived without internet nowadays. And interestingly, Portuguese is the 5th most spoken language on the internet. So that makes very clear that Portuguese is not just a language that is spoken in the daily routine of people, but also in the virtual world. And it is an important fact, since nowadays we do a lot of things in the virtual world. And Portuguese is also the official language of several international organizations like the EU, the African Union, the UNESCO, Mercosur. So it is a language that is in pretty much important organizations, and it is a language of business, of politics, of it is a language that has a very geostrategic position, I think, in my opinion. So Schiffer already told you why study, no, not why study Portuguese, but why study Portuguese at UCD. What I will now talk about is the importance of studying Portuguese. Why is that important? And of course, we have several reasons, and they are all different. In terms of career opportunities, studying Portuguese open and offers valuable careers opportunities. We have, for instance, opportunities in international business, relations and diplomatic service, marketing, translating, journalism, health, education, for instance, with the new B education at UCD, where students can be for instance, Portuguese teachers, now that Portuguese is already a language offered in the Living Certificate in Ireland. So different and very, let's say, broad opportunities in terms of career. Of course, Portuguese is also interesting, even though it is a global language, but it doesn't, let's say, occupies mainstream in Anglophone world. So studying Portuguese can set you apart from the mass studyings other popular language like Spanish, for instance, or like French. So it could be a plus in your CV because you are studying something that is not the mainstream right now. Of course, if you like to travel, studying Portuguese opens up travel opportunities. Like I said, the Portuguese language is spoken in 9 different countries. So it is also a way to know different cultures, rich and diverse cultures, to travel around the world. And of course, when you are traveling and when you know the language, the experience will be definitely more enriching. Definitely, that's for sure. You can contact directly local people. You can get to know the differences through language, for instance. And of course, you can relate to that culture in an effective way. When you know a language, things get more effective. So that's also another important or positive point if you are studying Portuguese. I will say that you can also look at studying Portuguese in a practical way. So if you know another Romance language like Spanish, French, or Italian, you have already some knowledge to study Portuguese because they are, of course, Romance language. They have similarities. So that could be an advantage. For instance, I have a lot of Spanish speakers studying Portuguese, and for them, studying Portuguese is somewhat very similar. So they get into the content in an easy way, and for them, it's quite intuitive, let's say. Of course, if you know Portuguese, you can also learn other Romance languages. So it also connectivity with other Romance languages. And then let's say in the linguistic perspective, knowing different languages, Romance language, you can make comparisons. And if you are interested in studying linguistics, the much Romance language that you know, the most comparison that you can make. And of course, that will be a plus when studying languages as well. So, Portuguese at UCD, Schiffer already talked about that. I don't think that will be necessary to repeat myself again. So we, of course, we have Portuguese as a trial, as a subject, a major subject that can be studied in different BAs. If you are studying Portuguese, you will have language models alongside with content models, where you can study Portuguese speaking language, culture, literature, film. So it's a very diverse program. There is also international studies opportunities. If you are studying Portuguese, you can study 1 year abroad. For now, we have partnerships with the University of Porto and the University of Coimbra. That last one is one of the oldest university in the world. And of course, you can also, if you are interested in following continuing study with the MA, we can always study or having Portuguese in the MA in Modern Languages, and also the new MA in Languages and Image Studies.